I know I've been gone a while. A couple of people have reached out to me to ask if the videos have stopped. It hasn't. I've just been going through a period of transition, and I'll be sharing that with you today. So I have a riddle for you. Guess what category this minority person falls into? You don't qualify for federal aid or loan. You don't make a job shortlist because your category automatically disqualifies you. You have to continue applying to schools to stay or even be able to work long term. Did you guess right? All of the above applies to an international student living in the United States. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if people have not attained the basic needs at the bottom of the pyramid, so physiological needs like food, clothing, shelter, or safety, their motivation to progress up the pyramid to other psychological needs like a sense of belonging, self-esteem, or even self-actualization is diminished. In the case of an international student, here is how that looks like. If you have to constantly worry about how long you can stay in a country, how can you focus on building your career, starting a business, or even starting a family? Because when the immediate needs haven't been tackled, the other ones just become a luxury. So I've been an international student in the United States for 8 years now, so went through undergrad and grad school. When I graduated from business school, it took me months to get a job. And that wasn't because I wasn't qualified for the jobs or I wasn't a perfect fit for the company. Instead, a lot of what I heard was, you're a perfect fit for this role, however, we're not sponsoring international students for the H-1B visa. So what is an H-1B visa? As an international student, after graduating from school, you're allowed to work for 1 year. If your degree was a STEM degree, so science, technology, engineering, or math, you get to work for up to 3 years. What the H-1B visa does is that it provides the opportunity for you to work up to 6 years. But the company has to file for that visa and pay for it and put in the request to the government. Every international student knows that it's very hard to get an H-1B visa. It's a lottery and there are no guarantees. In my case, one company found my resume online and invited me for an interview. I got the job offer that same week, and I also got information about orientation for the following couple of weeks. So I did not apply for this job. I was basically interviewed based on my skills, my resume, and what I had to offer. So when the application form was sent to me, there's always a part that asks you, do you need sponsorship to continue staying after that 1 year? And of course I said yes. Then I followed up the next day to make sure that my status as an international student wouldn't be an issue and that they would be able to sponsor my visa. The manager responded that yes, they could sponsor, and he even connected me to the company lawyer to confirm, and she said the exact same thing. The next day, I got a follow-up call saying they would not be able to sponsor the visa anymore, and their reason was that the political climate is very uncertain. He also mentioned that maybe if you had a PhD, we could consider doing it. I was fine with that, but I wanted to make sure that my job was secure. So I followed up with him afterwards to make sure that, everything was still going according to plan and orientation was still set. I did not get any response. A couple of weeks went by and I showed up at orientation as I was told to. Halfway through orientation, I was asked to leave and expect a call because I hadn't been cleared for work yet. So when I got the call, I was told that they decided to rescind the job offer. And their reason was that they do not want to invest in an international student. This was around August, so I already signed a lease and it was already 3 months after my graduation. It was a very devastating experience for me, as you can imagine. But I had to find creative ways to get out of it and pull myself up. So I got a job a couple of months afterwards, and they allowed me to work without the sponsorship, of course, for the duration of my work permit. Long story short, I am currently where I am right now, and the announcement that I have for you guys is that I'm moving to Canada as a permanent resident. And no, I did not get married. Just to clarify. So if you're an international student and you're tired of being an international student in the US with all its limitations, feel free to reach out to me to learn how this can be you. What I will tell you, however, is that it's a very comprehensive and thorough process, so you need to come prepared, be super organized, be super disciplined, and put in the work to make it happen. So if you recall from my previous video interviews, I have been discussing the inequalities that affect Blacks and women and how they can rise above it. Internationals are the subject today, and I'll also be sharing 3 ways that you can help if you're not affected by any of this, and 3 ways that you can be empowered if you are affected by this. My goal is to keep making empowerment the norm, and I strongly believe that we all have the ability to change our situation, even if the odds are stacked against us. So if you're not affected by any of this, the first tip on how you can help: gain knowledge on what's going on around you. So understanding the effect of policies will help you empathize with people that are going through stuff, and it would help you also relate to their struggles. Talk to people, listen to their stories. What people are up against would really surprise you. One of my friends from college, Mallory, is a perfect example of an American who is shining a light on issues affecting immigrants. In addition to being a global nomad, she uses her platform as a journalist to share their stories and advocate for them. So check her out on Instagram to learn more about what she does. I'll also put information about her website in the description box below. Also, if you've met international students or immigrants, do you notice that the majority of them tend to be super hardworking, super ambitious, and passionate about what they're doing? Now you know why. However, if your response has been jealousy or insecurity instead of inspiration, I hope this gives you perspective. Gratitude, not comparison. Number 2, use your privilege for good. So after you've gained knowledge, apply it towards effecting change. There's an election coming up in 2020. Show up and vote. Third point, be present. One culture shock that I actually experienced when I moved to the United States was when people ask you, how are you doing? It doesn't actually mean they want to know your life issues. It's simply a formality. However, I have met people that genuinely mean it when they say it, and they care about my well-being and want to know how I'm doing. So that's been very encouraging. So be that person. Check in with people and see if or how you can help. So when you're asking people how they're doing, actually mean it. So for internationals, in addition to Canada being an option, here are 3 tips for thriving in the current situation that you're in. Number 1, get good at networking. I've had the pleasure of meeting amazing people that have had tremendous impact in my life and career in the United States. I know networking can be terrifying. I am an ambivert, but the phrase that best describes that for me is extroverted introvert. I have learned how to be an extrovert, but intrinsically I am an introvert. The trick, however, is to know what your goal is, focus on that, and be intentional about being uncomfortable and constantly put yourself out there. If you want a job, network. If you want new ideas on how you can thrive wherever you are, network. If you want to meet great people and new friends, network. With practice, you'll get good at it, I promise. My second point, don't give up. I know that's easier said than done, but you can't give up. You only have yourself. Work hard, keep striving for excellence in your craft, and keep seeking alternatives to your problem. Impossible should not be a word in your dictionary. When there is a will, there is a way. I almost gave up last year too, so I know how tough it is. If you've gotten to the point whereby you're super overwhelmed, you're stressed out, and you're just about to give up, keep surrounding yourself with people that would motivate you and keep you accountable, because they can keep you in the game. They can bring you back up when you're not able to do that for yourself. My third and final point, know when to trust life and let go. So I give myself 3 options. Apply for permanent residence to Canada, prepare to return to Nigeria, or apply to a PhD program in the US. I got all 3 of that, but I ended up declining my PhD offers because I knew I didn't want to return to school so soon again. And while I was waiting on Canada, I also prepared my mind for Nigeria. So the most important lesson for me during this period was to find peace in the middle of the storm. So I had to get to a point whereby I had to teach myself that life is happening for me, not to me. Wherever I ended up being, I would be okay. And that would be the best option for me, even if I did not understand it. I chose to trust that God or the universe or whatever you believe in was aligning things in my favor, even if I didn't see it. And that really strengthened me. So keep doing your best and doing all that you can, but also get to a point of peace and trust whereby you can let go, even if things don't work the way you think it should work. I hope this has been helpful. Feel free to reach out to me for more information and continue spreading the message to as many people as you can. But remember, no matter what you go through in life, you don't have to be a victim. You have the power to overcome it. So let's keep making empowerment the norm.